Next question goes to you first, Jared. What is the most prevalent crime in Pine County, and what would you do to correct it?
The most prevalent crime here in Pine County is burglary or theft. It's running rampant. We need deputies out on the street who can put together a good case. That starts with knowing the community. That starts with knowing you, the victim of that crime. We need deputies who are out there who can drive down the street and notice when a garage door is open because they've stopped and talked to Al, and they know Al doesn't get home until 4:30. It's 3:30 and his garage door is open. That's number one. We need to start talking to people. Number two, we need to educate people of how not to become a victim of a crime. This month is Crime Prevention Month. I've been to all 3 of our districts for the Mille Lacs Band and talked to people. Let them know how not to become a victim of a burglary, what they can do to better safeguard their property. I also started with the Mille Lacs Band. We go out and we identify people's property for them. We have a sheriff's posse here of volunteers. We can come out to your residence with our volunteers, take pictures, video. Everybody's got a smartphone now. We can take video of your property with your serial numbers. When you do become a victim of a crime, we have a lot better chance of solving that crime if I can positively identify your property. Basically, case management system is huge when it comes to burglaries. In order to link cases together, you have to have someone sitting up high, looking down. A deputy might have a burglary case here in Pine City, and a deputy in Hinckley might have a burglary case. Same person's doing the burglary. It's the same MO. You should be able to link those cases. Right now, we're not linking those cases here in Pine County. We don't put 2 and 2 together to make a successful case. That needs to happen here. It starts with case management, and we have to have that system in place here in Pine County. The other thing is just plain good old hustle. I loved working burglars, and as deputy here in Pine, it was one of my #1 calls. It's not rocket science. It's about getting out and talking to people, knowing the people who are in town, knowing the people who were in town last night. You have to have gumption. You have to be able to go out, put your nose to the grindstone, and get it done. It's not rocket science, people. It's hard work. In order to be a successful officer and to actually take a bite out of this burglary problem here, it's going to be community. It's going to take all of us. But you also have to be able to hustle as a police officer, and that's something I've proven my entire career. I will lead by example at the sheriff's office. Right now, I do get out and work every other weekend with my guys on nights, just so they know that I am doing the job that I'm requiring them to do. They see me hustle. They want to rise up to that. That's what leadership is about. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff, what is the most prevalent crime in Pine County, and what would you do to correct it?
Well, first of all, I would like to let Jared know that we do have 3 investigators, me included, that are trained forensic interviewers, so that system is in place in the county already and will continue. As Jared mentioned, obviously burglaries are huge on our list of concerns. We have a relatively rural area. We've got a lot of cabins that aren't necessarily monitored as much as they should be. We have limited resources within the county, within the sheriff's office. We can't be everywhere. As much as I'd like a cop on every corner, I think that's been discussed with the past administration as not being a possibility. So a different tact on that would be to revitalize the Neighborhood Watch program. Several years ago, we had some very strong Neighborhood Watch programs in place. Over the years, that's been allowed to dwindle. If you don't have somebody within the sheriff's office that is actively energizing people to stay in that group, it tends to fizzle. Most people that are involved in volunteer organizations, I think, realize that you've got about 20 people that say they're in the organization and 3 that actually do the work. If you don't have somebody there that is pushing from inside to keep those programs going, they die out. Neighborhood watch programs are huge in providing the sheriff's office with extra ears and eyes. Like Jared mentioned, having deputies get out and talk to people is hugely important, but we can't be everywhere all the time. That's why we need help from the community. We need the Neighborhood Watch program to be reinstituted in our communities so that we have those free ears and eyes reporting back to us. We need good data to make good decisions for the sheriff's office and for the county. If we're not getting good data from outside of the sheriff's office, we're just relying on the cases that are called into us, we're not getting the full picture of what's going on out there. So one of the biggest things we need to do is get the communities involved through the Neighborhood Watch programs. We need to have people take advantage of the Posse program, as Jared did mention. We have a Posse program of volunteers that work within the sheriff's office. They're willing to do vacant house checks during the snowbird season and keep an eye on those houses. It's just a matter of signing up. You will have somebody in a marked squad car checking your vacation property. Getting that data, getting that input from the Neighborhood Watch programs, the Posse programs supplements what we can do as paid employees. To me, that's huge to getting that extra data, that extra visibility for the sheriff's office, and letting people know that we're out there and we care.
Next question goes to you first, Jeff. Being a successful sheriff requires leading by positive example. Please describe how you've set a good example for the department. I'll read it again for you. Being a successful sheriff requires leading by positive example. Please describe how you've set a good example for the department.
As I mentioned earlier, I've been here 22 years now within the sheriff's office. In that time, I've been a training officer in many aspects for the department. I'm a use of force training officer. I'm a ICE rescue training. I've mentored most of the deputies throughout my career here until recently. I have been the main use of force training officer. That program's been altered a little bit, and I don't think it's for the positive. So my ability to lead by example, I have been called, just about daily for advice on how to work on cases from various officers within the department. I've been able to lead by example by advising them on what steps should be taken in different cases. I've been able to mentor them firsthand. I've been able to advise them over the phone. I've acted as a liaison between the county attorney's office and the deputies. I've established the relationships that need to be in place in order for the sheriff's office to function. I've shown over the years that I've been dedicated to help serve the victim, to help to get the victim back on track in their life. And I've been nonstop on my advocating for them, whatever the cases might be.
Jared, being a successful sheriff requires leading by positive example. Please describe how you've set a good example for the department.
In my current agency, for those of you who know me, I'm a very high energy person. I leave no stone unturned. When I say I'm going to do something, I get it done. That's how I lead by example in my department, whether it be getting grant money, whether it be setting up a new schedule, whether it be out on the street working a burglary case. Highly important for your officers or your subordinates to see that you are willing to do their job and do it at a high level. My entire career, I have been known as a hustler. I get it done. No matter what agency I've worked for, no matter what task I've been given, I've gotten positive results. Here in Pine County, while working side by side with my opponent, I had 375 arrests to his 75. That's hustle. That's moving, that's getting out there and getting it done. That's a positive example for your employees. The other positive example is getting out there and talking to people. When I started at the Mille Lacs Band, I talked about that lack of communication and trust between the community. The very first meeting I had with my officers, I told them, starts with a wave, driving down the street. I started that by example, just waving at people. I started it by example by getting out of my patrol car and getting to know the community. I've led that charge by example. They've seen the community forums I attend. They've seen the meetings I attend. The passion I have for getting to know the community. That has taken off like wildfire with my officers. Now they are all involved with the community. They know the community. We have that trust back. That's something I can bring here to the Sheriff's Department. I've never had a lack of energy, and I never ever failed at something I've set out to achieve. So with that, that's how I lead by example.